Good morning, Rabbi Sai. Lili Nishmas Imi Mirosi Rusbas Mordechai. Today is a very special day. We are halfway through Yevamos, exactly the halfway point, over 60 daf into the Masechta, and we have a very geshmaka agadat daf today. It's going to be easier sugyas we had yesterday, easier today, tomorrow, the after. Be'ezer Hashem. This is a first no, Shimon is not here. Akiva, where's Akiva? Solway is not here today. Okay, we'll have to remember to tell the Mazel Tov next time. Eli Weinberg, Daniel Green of Waterbury caught doing the daf in Waterbury before Shacharis. I'm currently visiting my family from South Africa for good reasons, not good reasons. Unfortunately, my dad managed to get away to the coast for a few days. This is from God Carlos. Is he here? Where's God? No. He's back. We'll be back in Israel. Looking forward to being live share. Leah Bas Esther Lefur Shleima. This is a little embarrassing. I got an email from Ed Kinsbursky saying that he's learning the daf on a cruise in Mexico. Why is that embarrassing? Because I announced Yishkoyach to Ed Kinsbursky for giving me a free custom-made suit. And I take a look at the picture that doesn't look like the guy that took the measurements. And I realize it's Moshe Kinsbursky. Okay. Thank you for Rebelli for making it easy to learn even when on vacation on the cruise. Rabbi says, since we have a very long daf, so we have to hurry it up a little bit, and it's going to be on a do not do 1.5 speed today. It's like it's going to be equal to 3 speed. Koil sponsor of the month. Lzchus shiduchim for the mishpacha. Parnasah chodesh. Zechus Shimon הכהן Walllerstein Zechus Levracha by his kids. As Zchus to Ahron Hatzlacha to you, the magid share the video editor Hatzlacha to you, and shiur. Lezchus Avraham Yitzchak Benimin. Parnasah chodesh Ahron Fraiman Lzchus continue parnasah siyadta dishmaya and Hatzlacha to Rebelli Shkoyach. Parnasah chodesh the Boyer family. Leading Nishmas Rebellios Zechus Levracha ben Avraham Eli Weinberg. Allah Shalom, dear family friend, who suddenly passed away this Shabbos. It's actually a week ago at the age of 59. He loved MDY. I'm proud to be part of the Daf Yomi shir. The Wolkenstein family, Imein Kemach in Torah. Imein Torah in Kemach. If you don't have Torah, you don't make parnasah, he says. Parnasah chodesh. By the Lock and Lebovic family's Lakewood NJ because Torah is the best segulah. Parnasah chodesh, anonymously, the dishmaya Chaya Bas Yosef. Parnasah chodesh, anonymously, as HaKaras HaTov to Hashem. You gotta stop this anonymous. Yosef. Enough of these anonymouses. You tell them it's not acceptable. As HaKaras HaTov to Hashem, as Zechus held in bracha. Martin Randa Lifshitz today, the first yahrzeit of our beloved son, Avigdor Chai Avraham. I spoke to him the other day on Zoom. 15-year-old son. Terrible tragedy. Terrible things happen in Klal Yisrael. Refuah Shleima, Liza Leah Bat Mazel Tov, and Lili Nishmat Yiftach Ben David. Rabbi Sai, we are on the bottom of Daf Samach Aleph Amud Beis, all the way in the bottom. And I have a shiloh for the olam. Everybody, please answer the question. What do you think if a person was a cousin and he fathered 2 terrorist children and then he became a ger? Was he yaitza the mitzvah of pru urevu? Anybody? No. Kids. Right. Okay. Well, anybody have anything to say here? Mati Middleberg. Shalom Aleichem. What are you tying up? No. No, they weren't Megayer. They remain terrorists. They hate Yidden. Not Yaitza. Not Yaitza. You'll be surprised to learn that he's Yaitza lahalacha, but it is machlokes, says Hillel. Says the Gemara Beishami Yomim Shnei Zecharim. What's the mitzvah of Pru Revu? 2 male children. We learn from Moshe Rabbeinu L'chsiv. 2 lines from the bottom. L'chsiv Bnei Moshe Gershom Eliezer. And then what happened? He separated from his wife for good. So that was enough. 2 sons. What did HaKadosh Baruch Hu create? A Zachar and a Keva, Adam Chava. Don't we have to mimic HaKadosh Baruch Hu's ways? So he created Zachar and a Keva. We also do. Says the Gemara, Ein Donim Efshar, Mishi Efshar, top of Samach Beis Amud Aleph. That's the only way to continue humanity. Yishkoyach. Thank you. Baruch That adds another 5 minutes to Yosef's edit. He has to put that. Okay. Says the Gemara, well, you want to have human beings in the world, you need a zach and a keva. But us, later on generation, we don't have to have a zach and a keva. Two zchar. Isn't it a great raya? Moshe Rabbeinu had two zcharim and he stopped. Moshe made his own cheshbon, as we're going to see in a second. However, other people are also to act like that. The Sanya Shloisha Devarim Masa Moshe Medaita. Moshe relied on his own svara, his own logic. V'eskima daita l'das hamakayim, and it fit into what HaKadosh Baruch Hu agreed to him. One of them perished min Isha. He separated from his wife Tzipora. V'shibar luchos. He broke the luchos without asking HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Voice of Yom Echad, before Matan Torah coming up, he said, separate from your wives 3 days instead of 2. Perish min Isha my darash. Where do we get this? How did he come up with it? Omar Umay Yisrael shalei dibra imam shchina elo fisha. Klal Yisrael only had a few moments with the HaKadosh Baruch Hu. V'kavalem zman, and everybody knew exactly what is going to happen on the Torah. Al tikshu elisha, you have to be tahar. Ani shem yuchol l'dibra b'chol shah v'shah. I don't know when HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to be speaking to me. It could happen any moment. V'kavalem zman could be for a long time and at any time. Alachas kama v'kama. Certainly, I have to be tahar at any given time. I can't have too much carry. I can't run. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to speak to me. I'm going to go to the mikvah, come back, tar, full yaim the next day. Too much. V'eskima daitoi l'das hamakar. It fit in. HaKadosh Baruch Hu said, yeah. Shenemar leichem orlem shuvu leichem. Go back to your tents, meaning to your wives. V'ata, but you, Moshe Rabbeinu, you're different than everybody else. Hoi amoidi modi, you have to stay here. Shivers aluchos. Why did he break the luchos? My darash Omar. Uma Pesach shu echol m'sheish meis u'shlosh mitzvos. Carbon Pesach is 1 out of 613 mitzvos. Omar Torah kol ben nechar lo yechal boy. HaTorah kula. So a guy, a non-Jew, can't eat one of the mitzvahs. He doesn't have the Torah. He can't eat one mitzvah in the Torah, which is Carbon Pesach. HaTorah kula. So what about 613 mitzvahs? V'Yisrael mumarim. The Yisrael, it says mushmadim before the censor, after the censor. The point is, Klal Yisrael were doing avodah zarah, the egel, alachas kama v'kama. They cannot have the Torah. Came down, he saw that the mumar, they don't deserve the Torah. Broke the luchas. Luchas is the Torah. V'eskima daita l'das hamakayim t'chsiv asher shibarta. The word asher, b'amar Shlokesh, Amar HaKadosh Baruch Hu Moshe, yishar. Asher is lashon of yishar. In this case, Yishar koicha choshe shibarta. Yishakayach. You did the right thing. My darash. Why did Moshe Rabbeinu add one more day before Matan Torah to separate from the wives? So if you look at the psukim here, it says, Hashem told Moshe Rabbeinu today and tomorrow. Today is Wednesday, so Wednesday and Thursday. I'll give the Torah on Friday. What does it say in Pasuk Tezvav? That was Pasuk Yud. Hashem said, and he says 3 days on his own. Where did he get it from? So he says, well, the point is because the concern was for the tumah of the women who might have plita zera. It could take 3 days until it's metama her. So he decided 3 days. But where did he learn in the Pasuk? Today is like tomorrow. Ma machar is 24 hours. Leila ima, you have a whole night before. Now, HaKadosh Baruch Hu spoke to him in the day, Wednesday. So Wednesday doesn't really count. I need like tomorrow. Like this little chart over here. HaKadosh Baruch Hu spoke to him on Wednesday. So you have a half a blue. So he said, the green, Thursday, is a full 24 hours with the night. So it's 2 days, 2 full days. You need Thursday and Friday. So Mela, today doesn't count at all. Today you parish your wives, but you need 2 full days. The Torah is going to be given on Shabbos. But it's Wednesday. We don't have. It's Wednesday morning. The night before already passed us. 2 days besides today. Either. I'm not exactly sure. It seems like once Moshe Rabbeinu put this into Pshat, then HaKadosh Baruch Hu said, okay, yeah, that's what I meant. If he wouldn't have done it, so he meant, in other words, it's Torah. You could, it's down here. It's given to us humans, and the way he interpreted it, that's the way HaKadosh Baruch Hu said, okay, yeah, that's how it is. Shabbos, I'm giving the Torah. Tanya, that's how it seems like. Or you could also learn that, no, that's what HaKadosh Baruch Hu meant, and he was supposed to figure it out. A new shita. In the Mishnah, we have Bishami Yorim Shnei Zcharim, 2 Zcharim. Over here, Rabbi Nosson says, no, that's not what Bishami said. Bishami said 4, not 2 children, 2 males. 4 children, 2 males, 2 females, 2 Zcharim, 2 Nekevas. V'seloimrim, Zachar Unekeva, 1 on 1. Omer Avuna, my time with the Rabbi Nosson, I leave the Bishami, D'chsiv, V'toisev Leledes, Es Ochiv Es Havel. Now, S is l'rabbis, like, Rabbi Pessin's Chumash, S l'rabbis, Cholis and Shabbat Torah. So, when the Torah says that, and it has to be like that, did Chava have any girls? Of course she had girls, otherwise how did they have children? So, but where does it say in the Pasuk? In addition to the brother, there was an S, there was a girl. S Havel. Okay, so so you have 4, 2 boys, 2 girls. Cain killed Hevel, so HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave her another child instead of. In other words, she needed to have these 4, and now she only has 3. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu replaced. It's a replacement. So you see, you have to have 2 and 2. Says the Gemara, no. She was thanking Hashem for replacing that child. Not that you have to replace it. It's Haidat HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Does anybody know when the story of Cain and Hevel happened? When did it happen? No? Huh? So Medrash Rabbah says it happened in Shavuos. Coming up. Cain and Hevel. Zog the Gemara. Tanya Yidach. Rebbe Nosson Omer. B'Shama Yoimrim. Zochrun. No, the time is Shabbos before Kabbalas Torah. Mekayim all the mitzvahs. Yeah, that time, that period of year. Not a celebration of Shavuos. That period of Tanya Yidach. What? Why do we need to? We don't need to know anything. It's good. This is random stuff. Why do I need to know why at my Shabbos meal every 10 minutes? This I have one of my kids is a Google expert. He knows call a Google about pet. So he tells me the eagle goes like this and it flies 25. What I have to know? That's good. It's good to know. On Shavuos, you'll tell your family. That's what you have to know. Now, Shalom Aleichem, what's your name? Shalom Aleichem, sure. Where do you live? Oh, you live here. Okay. You're firing me. You want to see if the shiur is good enough for you. Okay, fine. I hope I pass the test. No. So, another way to learn Reb Nosson. Not that Bishami say you need 2 and 2, 1 and 1. Isn't that Beis Hillel? No. Beis Hillel say, Oy Zachar, Oy Nekeva. 1. Bishami say you need a 2 total, Zachar and Nekeva. Beis Hillel say 1. Omarova, my time with the Reb Nosson, I leave the Beis Hillel. What's Pshat? Why 1? Shenemar li soyuvra. I didn't create the world just to be desolate. L'sheves yitzara. I created it that it should be inhabited by humans. Vav l'sheves. And he's yaitza. He's yaitza with 1. Itmar. So that was the what I asked Toilam, because I figured it, most people would think this. That's what I would think. That if you have a non-Jewish child, you're not yaitza. How's that yaitza prove? Especially a child that's an anti-Semite. How do you yaitza with that? He had children when he wasn't Jewish, and then he became a ger. Rabbi Yochanan says, and that's how he paskin, he's mekayim the mitzvah. Right? The halacha is like Rabbi Yochanan in all of Shas, besides 3 places. Not one. This is not one of them. At the end of the day, he was Mekayim, he fulfilled his obligation when he was a non-Jew. No, that's what everybody knows. Gershon is Gayer, he's starting his life fresh. So whatever he had beforehand doesn't count for him. Says the Gemara, they're going according to their own shita. If he had children when he was non-Jewish and became a ger, the new kid, a new child that's born now, is not considered his bechar. His bechar is when he was a non-Jew. Huh? What do you mean? Oh, you stop asking what it means? What? No. I think over here means children, but one-on-one, whatever the halacha is, whatever you need. Oh, we're going to see in a second. Yeah. That what? There's no bechar. The havale rachis. Oh, no, he already had his first child when he was a non-Jew. He gets married. He's a Jewish person now. The first-born boy is considered a bechar. Why? Gershon is garki katan shenoi ladam. So we have two machlokes in here. Do you start over to get the bechar, and are you yaitza pru revu? It's the same machlokes basically. Are you yaitza pru revu from a child that you had before, and is the child before a bechar? Says Gemara tzricha, you need both machlokes and diashmin and bahi kamais. So if you only said the machlokes by pru revu, bahi kamar Rabbi Yochanan. Rabbi Yochanan says that is yaitza mishum demikar nami bnei pru revu. It's interesting. Rashi says over here, he brings his pasuk. You see Gershon? So this is a mitzvah for Bnei Noach. Now, most Rishonim say that it doesn't apply today, but maybe because it used to apply, so a little bit in the mitzvah. Try to understand, maybe it seems from Rashi that they do have a mitzvah today.
It's not one of the seven.
What are the seven? Aleph Beis Gimel. No, Gila Rashi Damim, and then Aleph Beis Gimel. Ever Menachai, whatever. Yeah, no. That's not what it said. No, but this is Averis, and this is mitzvahs. This is a mitzvah. This is Asay. Privya. Avlini Nachla. The Lav B'nei Nachla. There's no Bechar, there's no concept of Bechar by a guy. And also, there's no difference between a boy and a girl. Everybody gets equal. Maybe Rabbi Yochanan will agree to Rish Lakish that what he had before doesn't count at all because there's no halachas of b'chayra by a guy. So maybe we start fresh when it becomes a yid. The first son is the b'char. And if I only say it by Yerusha, Rish Lakish said there's no Yerusha. He'll say no. There's just no Yerusha because they don't have Hilchas Yerusha. So that's why I need the machlokes in both places. Sholach broidach baladon ben baladon melech Bavel. So there's broidach baladon. His name is broidach baladon, the son of Baladon. So you see over here that even though he's a guy, he goes by the father. They have misyachas to one another. Yerusha, Pruvu, everything. Goyim. Amalei, B'Yuson, Isluchayis. You're right. When they remain Goyim, then they have Yichus. You talk about the father or the grandfather. This Gairu, that's when they become Kikatan Shenoi Ladami. Brand new babies. They're brand new. Less Luchayis. Then you don't consider what they had before. Omarav, Hakol Moedim Be'evet Shein Luchayis. Everybody agrees that a slave, Jewish person has a slave, and that slave has children, and then he releases his slave. The children of that slave don't belong to him. They're not Mesiachas after him, and he wasn't Mekayim the mitzvah of Puruvu. Even Rabbi Yochanan, who says that the children of a non-Jew before he became a ger are considered his children, he doesn't have to be Mekayim the mitzvah anymore. By a slave, he'll say no. He'll agree that they don't count. T'chsiv shvu lochem poi im hachamor. Avraham Avinu tells Eliezer was the Eved. Im hachamor. Am adoim l'chamor. Slaves are similar to chamor, and that's why they don't count. Meisvei. Uletziva chamisha asar banim ve'esra avadim. Tziva was the slave, the famous mice over there with Tziva, Mipi Boishes. He fooled, the slave fooled Mipi Boishes, told Avraham Melech, lzchus, the whole thing. But Tziva was the slave of Mipi Boishes, who was the grandson of Shaul. Mipi Boishes was the grandson of Shaul, who was the son, he was also the son of Yonasan. Avraham Melech was nice to him, the whole thing. So it says, but the slave, Tziva, Chamisha Asar Banim Vesrim Avadim. So you see that a slave has yichus, he has children. They're his children. Chamisha Asar Banim he had. Omer Rav Acha bar Yaakov, Kipar ben Bakar. We're just counting like cattle. How many cattle did he have? He had 15 cattle. We're not talking about chayes, yichus. Hachinami. So say the same thing by Biladon. Biladon, what's the name? Roidach, Baladon. By the way, but this Baladon guy, the king, he had a face of like a dog. He looked like a dog. So it's a very interesting story. Somebody sent me a thing, but it's in the art scroll also. You could look at the story. That basically, there's other, you could say, Balak ben Tzipar. You could say there's a lot of different people in Tanakh that says the name, the guy and the father. So why dafka this? Because since he looked like a dog, or whatever he looked like, he had an einish, he looked like something weird, so they kicked him out of the Melucha and he gave it to his son. So his son, as a kavod, wanted to say that, no, I'm with my father. So that's why his name is a funny name. His name is his own father's name also. Yeah, what's his name? Beroidach Baladon. His father's name is Baladon. But this kid's name is Broidach Baladon ben Baladon. Because the father's Baladon, the son is Broidach Baladon. So in Mela, I already know who the father is. If I say Broidach Baladon, Mr. King Broidach Baladon, who's his father? Baladon. So then why does the Torah say Ben Baladon? That's the biggest raya that we go after the father also. Okay, fine. So, I don't know if the guy saw in the art scroll and he sent it to me. One of the guys in the koil sent it to me. It's like, I don't know if he cheated or not. I don't know where he got it from. But anyway, we'll find out. Go weiter.
It's not that he recognizes the name, it's that the Torah recognizes his father's name, not just himself. I think that's what you're saying. That was his Ben Balad.
Yeah, the Torah, the Torah is
magid, that's his father. Right.
Yeah, the Torah cares. It's not to identify him, but to give him yichus. So how come by Biladon we don't validate? How come by Biladon we don't answer the same thing? The Torah says he's this Baradach Biladon, the son of Biladon, like a parben bakar. It's just cattle. Shani Asam, Yachsinu Bishmayu, Ubishma Davua. It doesn't say Ben, it doesn't say like by the slave, it says he had 15 children. It doesn't say any names. 15, okay. So he had 400 sheep and 15 children. So nothing. But over here it's saying the name of the father, so you see that there's Zechus. Vacha by the Eved Lemefarish. V'bay Seima, Yachsinu B'duchta Achrite. There's another, forget this pasuk, forget Baladam. Another place it says even more. Bavun u'ba'abad avun, it says the grandfather. So this is already not counting humans. This is already showing yichus. The Vayishlachim HaMelech Asa El Ben Hadad, the son of Hadad, Ben Davriman, Ben Chez. No, so you see that we care. The son of this Rebbe was the son of the other Rebbe, all the way to Baal Shem Tov. That's yichus. Why would he go? Why would the Torah talk about goyim? Go all the way back these generations. So you see that there is yichus by a son. By human, by regular people, but not by slaves. Itmar. Amazing shilas here. This is great stuff. A guy had a son and a daughter, everything is good. And loyal leinu, hoyloi banav amesu. Mekayim the mitzvah, not mekayim the mitzvah. You have to start over. Is it your problem or not? Well, it depends what the mitzvah is for. What is Puru for? Ravuna Amar, Kiyam Pirivi Ribyo. He's mekayim the mitzvah. Rabbi Yochanan Amar loy kiyam. Rabbi Yochanan says he was not mekayim the mitzvah. It's a famous Gemara in Brachas. We learned in Brachas, also in Bava Basra. The Rabbi Yochanan had a necklace with the tooth of one of his 10 sons that was nifter. He didn't have children. He didn't have sons. He used to say, "Din garmei da sira beer." Yeah, din garmei. This is garmei da sira beer for my 10th child. He had it was a tooth. It's not makabel tumah, a whole thing. But he used to walk around. He used to be menachem people that lost their sons, their children. He'd say, "I lost 10." So it's just interesting that Rabbi Yochanan Omar Loi Kiyam. He's talking about himself. I was not Mekayim the mitzvah if I don't have sons. Rav Huna Omar Kiyam. Mishum de Ravasi. Rav Huna says, yes, you were Mekayim. What does Ravasi say? The Omar Ravasi ain't ben David ba ad sheyichlu kol neshama shebaguf. So don't read this simply guf. What does guf mean? Guf means there's a storage house in Shemayim called guf, not our bodies. Shem has shelves there. All the neshamas are sitting on a shelf. He pulls every time a kid is born, he pulls out a neshama. Mashiach is not going to show up until every single one of those neshamas leaves that storage facility. That's why when I argue with my chavrusa every day about this topic, he says you have to have as many children as you can. Why? Because of this Gemara. He wants to help Mashiach come. Mashiach comes. If he has 15 kids, 25 kids, come quicker. We have three things we argue every single day. Even if we don't argue, we bring it up, we say it, and we go weiter. Smartphones, there's a few other, yeah. So look at this pasuk for a second. You have to see the end of the pasuk. Seems from the pasuk, I made the neshamas, I put them there, and if we don't get them out of that place, then Mashiach can't come. No, if he's talking about himself, I cannot be Mekayim Pirivir if my sons die. Why? We spoke about the pasuk. The world was created to inhabit it, to fill it with humans. And Lamaisa, you weren't right now. You didn't bring any humans to the world. Yeah, you brought them for a minute, but they're gone. They're not there anymore. Says the Gemara, Meisvei, Daf, Samach Beis, Amud Beis, spans by Moshe Or in honor of the gold star, Moti Donut. Spans anonymously, is Zechus, from Moshe Yaakov and Shoshan, and both Ruchnis and Gashmis. Bnei Banim, Hareihem Kibanim. Look at this. So, if you look at this chart, it's a very simple chart. You have the grandfather on top. The grandfather had two children, a Zachar and a Keva. So he's Yaitza, right? No. The son dies. So if we go like Rav Huna, that you have to take neshamas out of the storage. So when he had two children, a Zachar and a Keva, he took two neshamas out. He's Yaitza. What do I care that he went horizontal?
He's redeposited.
No, there's no redeposit in storage. Once it comes out, it comes out. You're talking about Gilgulim maybe, I don't know what. No, we're not going to go into that. Once you remove the neshama once, that's it. I'm saying, if you knew for a fact that there's only 100 neshamas left in the storage, you wouldn't start making sure that we get those 100 neshamas out unless Mashiach come. Okay. So then why does it say Bnei Banim Hareim Kibanim? Why do you need to replace? Why do you have to put another son in there? Why do you have to make sure that your children had a son, now you have a son and daughter? You're already mighty the neshamas, and everything is good. Why do you need Bnei Banim Hareim Kibanim? Why do you need to count a grandchild? Forget the grandchildren. You brought two children to the world. What happened, happened. That's it. Elamai, you see, has nothing to do with bringing neshamas out of the storage. It has to do with l'sheves yitzara, having more humans on planet Earth. And if they're dead, you are Mekayim. Says Gemara, no. Kitanya hila hashlim. Next, what happened was that, excuse me, he had one son, and he died. So in order to be mashlim, I think that's what it means now. I'm having a little charata thinking about it. He's only Mekayim, this is Puravu. The Gemara says this doesn't work later. If he had another grandchild, a second grandchild, then you're Yaitza. But it doesn't, huh? A daughter. A granddaughter, yeah. You see, I put a granddaughter here. But it's not going to work so well.
So is this guy Mekayim if he has two grandchildren?
Oh, so we're going to see in a second. Says the Gemara. Let me just see Rashi for a second, make sure it's not a mess up here. he only had one son like over here. And he had a daughter from that that child, so he has a grandson. He had a granddaughter from that guy. So then the grandfather on top is Potter. But if he had two children, like in this case, but and in this case, you don't have to have a grandchild. Why? Because he brought down two neshamas. Like here says the Gemara, Meisvei, B'nei Banim Hareim Kibanim. Meis Echad Mem, Oshinim Tzasaris, Lekiim Piriviribia. Yufta de Ravuna. You see, even though you brought neshamas down, it's not enough. If they cannot have a continuation, one of them is a saris or died. It says mafurish, not like you, and that's a kasha on the svara of you have to achiyichle kol neshama shebaguf. It's a ray against Ravuna. Tiyufta. B'nei banim arim kibanim. Sovar abayla meimar bro lebro. So this might be a little confusing, but if you start from the right, these are four different cases, very simple cases. So all the way on the right, you have the same grandfather, right? If the grandfather had a son, but that son had another son, so it's good. He's Mekayim the mitzvah. Even though the middle guy went horizontal, Lamaisi had a son, and then he has a grandson. What if the second case? Shimon had a daughter, and the daughter went horizontal, but the daughter had a kid. So in other words, he has a granddaughter. Everybody agrees it's good. What if the third case? The daughter had a son, also good. What's wrong with the son? But if Shimon, all the way on the left, had a son, and the son had a daughter, had a granddaughter, and then the son went bye-bye, so Shimon wasn't in the mitzvah, because Shimon never had a son. He only had a granddaughter. You want to say, bro, if a boy replaces the son, a grandson, ubarta, a granddaughter instead of the daughter. V'koch came bra lebarta in the third case, and certainly a grandson instead of a daughter. But a daughter instead of a son, a granddaughter instead of a son, no good. So I had a shaila, but this answers the shaila. What good is it if you have a grandchild? So just thinking about my own personal thing. I have a grandchild, yeah? My grandchild is really only 25% me. 25% me, 25% my wife. And another 50% goes to the Mechutanim from Lawrence. So how am I yaitza with my grandchild? It's only 25%. It's a 25%er. He's 75% from other people. From my wife, okay, so me and my wife, we're 50%. Yeah, but that's the Torah says. You and your wife have to produce 2. But over here, us 4 produced 1. Why is that? The answer is very, very pashut. That's the side of the sugi here. When you have a grandchild, you're not being mekayim the mitzvah pruvu with a grandchild. Where your mekayim is the pruvu with your child. Then your child is alive. But you having a grandchild, the child that died is alive and going. You're mekayim the mitzvah through him. That's how it works. And that's what Rava says there. All you need to do is make sure that there's human beings in the world, and through your child, you're mekayim the mitzvah. Your child is dead. But look, there's a continuation. I kept on going. Fine. The kuli amamias treim echad loy. 2 from one child is not enough. If you only had one child, that child produced 2, not good. But what about the story with the Rav Sheshes? You better get married quickly and have children. And he told Chachamim, B'nei Barti, Bonaininu. My grandchildren, my 2 grandchildren from my daughter, that's enough. So you see, if you have 2 children from one child, 2 grandchildren from one child, that's enough. Says the Gemara, Rav Sheshes just wanted him to get off his back. He was annoyed with them. So he made up a Baba Maisa. He said, I have grandchildren, don't worry about it. which to me, I'm thinking now is a little pella. What he's saying, he's selling Lakshan to Talmid Chachamim. They know the halacha. Okay. Gemara says, what happened? The Rav Sheshes, he akim pirkei de Rav Huna. Talking about Rav Huna here. Rav Sheshes sat there in the shiur for a very long time. And there's a whole bunch of Gemaras. In fact, the Rambam, when he talks about this halacha, he says it 6 times in a row. That a person should not hold himself back if he has to go to the bathroom. It's very dangerous. It can make him sterile. And Taisus, I believe when we learned, the Taisus says that nishtanu atfayim, nature literally changed. There used to be a very thin membrane separating the 2 pipes, the urinary tract and the zera, and that no longer exists scientifically. But Taisus says nishtanu atfayim. The point is that if a person holds himself back, it can rupture that skin, and he won't be able to have children. And that's what happened to Rav Sheshes. So Mele, he can have children anyway. So he doesn't have to get married. Taivas and everything we spoke about yesterday, then we're going to talk about today, that the person should be married. He's a Talmid Chacham, he's busy learning, or some say he was already a Akar, so that removed his Taiva. So the whole point was that he should have more children. He can't have children anyway. So why did he tell? I'm telling him, get off my back. I have grandchildren. But instead of telling him, look, I'm sterile and going into private details, don't worry about it. I took care. I already was in the mitzvah. Says the Gemara, says Rashi, very important. You should write this in your Gemara here. This is not to say bonim harim kibonim, literally like the Gemara says. But how do you know that the sons of your daughter are considered like your sons? Daughter. That's the Nakuda. He tells Yaakov Avinu, they're all mine. So you see that the grandchildren go after the father, even though it's through his daughter, Lavan's daughter. He also said, the cattle is mine, the sheep are mine. So they're really his? What he wanted to say is, you started off your business with the sheep through me. I gave you the first sheep to start off. So everything is mine. You bought Rachel Leah from me. You acquired them from me. So that's not a good raya. And I want to do a little bit of a chart here, but didn't have much time. You don't really need a chart. So let's figure this out together. Chetzrain was from Shevet Yehuda. El Bas Machir, he married the daughter of Machir. Machir was from Menashe. Avi Gilad. Vatei lo yizgov, and he had zgov. Uchsiv mini Machir. So if we go to this passage, Machir, the father, where is he? What Shevet is he from? Menashe. Okay, remember, he's from Menashe. And then it says, mini Machir, yodim mechayikim. This Menashe person, Machir, he had mechayikim. The problem is, mechayikim is only from Yehuda, not from Menashe. So how did a Menashe person have mechayikim? Mechayikim is from Yehuda. The answer is, through his daughter. A Menashe daughter married a Yehuda, and the grandchildren are mechayikim. So you see that Bnei Banim through a daughter are also considered Banim. Mas Nisin, the Lav Rabbi Yeshua. I'm just thinking now, I didn't think about this. My daughter, I only have a daughter that has children. My son doesn't have kids yet. So my daughter has 2 kids, a Zachar and a Keva. So I'm Yoitza through, I'm Yoitza anyways, but I'm saying, based on this Gemara, Bnei Banim are in Banim, and 2, but it's only, no, everybody agrees that 2 children from 1 kid, from a daughter, is not good. Not good enough. Okay. Need my son to have kids, to be mamish, make sure that everything goes good. And the Gemara talks about it soon. Masnis and Lav Rabbi Yeshua. Our mission is not like Rabbi Yeshua, this is how Rabbi Yeshua Omer. Nasa Adam Isha B'Yaldusai, Yisa Isha B'Ziknusai. So, right to my Chavrusa. Not 100%, but okay. Then what? The Mishnah says, once you have a boy and a girl, you don't have to be kind of approval anymore. Should be married. It's a good thing to be married. No more approval. 2 kids is enough. But Rabbi Yeshua says no. If you get married young, you say you should be ziknusai. If you had children when he was younger, you should always have more children. How many doesn't say exactly, but you should add to the minimum. The minimum is 2. You should do a little more. Now 15 might be pushing it, but 4, 5, 6 seems like okay. I don't know. Okay. We're not going to get into it. I don't know. It's the Rabbanan halacha here that you should have more children. Shenemar. It says in the pasuk, "Baboik is zera es zarecha." You should seed your field, v'lo erev al tanach yedecha, and don't take it easy at night. Continue. Because you don't know who's going to live. You don't know that these two children are going to survive all the way throughout, or if they're going to be kosher. So make sure, add to them. You don't know if they're both going to be good, both going to live forever. No. Rabbi Akiva says no, not like Yeshua. But we do pass like Yeshua. Rabbi Akiva says pshat is lo ma'torah b'yaldusai, yom Torah b'ziknusai. You should always learn Torah. Doesn't matter how old you are. Just because you learned a bunch of Torah and you know kol Torah kula b'al peh doesn't mean that you're finished for life. And if you had talmidim when you're younger, you should have talmidim when you're older. Oh, Rabbi, here we go. We're in middle sphere Saimer. It's a beautiful thing. We're mamish in the. Now, it's not the biggest nace in the world because it does take up 49 days of the year. So, okay, it would be cool if it happened on like Boimer, let's say. Nevertheless, it's very special that we're learning about it today. Rabbi Akiva had 12,000 peers of Talmidim, a total of 24,000. Migvas adan tifras, v'kulon meisu v'perak echad, and all these Talmidim Chachamim, died in one tkufa, from Pesach all the way till what? Rosh Chodesh, depends when, how, where. And Adayim Hazeh, we mourn the ptira of these 24,000 because they didn't act with respect to one another. So whatever that means, I heard many drushes throughout my life that it's on the highest level of kavod zeh, but the point for us in the year 2022. So obviously we're not Talmidei Rebbe Akiva, and we don't. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is not going to hold us to that degree of kavod, but we have to be noyek, whatever it means for us. We have to be noyek kavod zeh. So in those days it was in learning, they didn't respect and whatever it is, and nowadays you shouldn't go around smacking people in the face and being vayish and whatever. Our madrega of kavod zeh. V'haya ha'olam shamein. The world was desolate, no more Torah. So if you think about it, why is it such a big thing for us? We don't shave, and music and weddings, mourning. It happened thousands of years ago, thousands of years. So what we're going to still? There was a lot of tragedies in Klal Yisrael. It's interesting. I don't know the exact answer, but if you think about it a little bit, if today's day and age, you put all American scientists and highest doctors in one 747, and it goes down bad, crashes. So throw science and everything else 100 years backwards. It will take a tremendous amount of time to make it up. Torah is it's much worse than that. The whole continuation of Klal Yisrael was in those 24,000 Talmidim. We never made up that Torah that was lost. It threw us back. It's not stam. 24,000 people died. And 6 million people died in the Shoah. Was it 24? So we do 1 day of more like. But it's the Torah of Klal Yisrael, the whole continuation, everything that we had, and we're going to see in a second, was made up somewhat, but never to that degree of the 24,000 Talmidim. And he took these 5 Talmidim and he taught them all everything we know. And if you look at all the Mishnayos, everything, it's all these are the Tanaim, the 5 Tanaim. Rabbi Meir v'Rabbi Yehuda, the famous Rabbi Meir and Rabbi Yehuda. V'Rabbi Yosi v'Rabbi Shimon, Rabbi Shimon bar Yochai, Rabbi Lazar ben Shamua, Hamid Torah, Isa Shah. These were the 5 main ones. He had other Talmidim, but these are the main 5 that the Torah came from. In Brooklyn, I said over here the famous Ben Yehoyada that he asks why. A lot of people ask why does it say there's 12,000 zugos? The Gemara should say there's 24,000. We don't say there's 3 million pairs of people that died in the Shoah. 6 million. You say the whole number. Because he says that Rabbi Akiva anticipated this and he paired them together so that there should be no kavod zeh, the weaker with the stronger, and the weaker should give kavod. And Alpha Beacon, it didn't work. Chavrusas. Okay, that's the idea of zugas of chavrusas. But Rabbi Yisrael Salanter says over here, you see the power. He takes it the other direction. You see the power of 5 people. Rabbi Meir, Rabbi Yehuda, Rabbi Shimon. They brought Torah back. Five, not against the 24,000, but the Torah that we have today is from them. What 5 people could accomplish. 5 people. So the Gemara.
Last year of his life.
It was last year of his life. Okay, and that's what he's saying. When you get old, don't stop learning Torah. Don't stop teaching. Kulam mesu me Pesach v'adatzeres, from Pesach till Shavuos. A terrible death, very tragic death. In Shas, Askara, it's a breathing complication. It's the worst death possible. And Omer of Masna, Allah Yeshua, that even after you Mekayim mitzvahs pruvu, you should continue having children. If a person doesn't have a wife, the Zohar says that a man and a woman make one guf, one body. So if you have a half a guf, you don't have the simcha, you don't have the bracha. You can't have bracha, b'loi toiva. B'loi simcha d'chsiv, v'samachta tov v'yisecha. V'yisecha is always, who was it? House means a wife. B'loi bracha d'chsiv lo niach bracha el v'yisecha. B'loi toiva d'chsiv loi toiv h'yoy sadim levado. Without toiv, it's not good to be by yourself. With toiv is the wife. If you don't have a wife, it's not good. If you don't have a wife, you don't have Torah. You don't have a chayma. You don't have protection. They say that from this Gemara, a wife protects a husband from Aveira. So that's why the Ashkenazim, at least, we go around 7 times in the chuppah, because that's like the chayma. She's protecting. She creates that wall of protection under the chuppah. I don't have my Ezra, the person that helps me. Usoishia means chachma, nitcha mimeni, was pushed away from me. So look at Rashi. You have to see Rashi here. Rashi the Ramas is smack in the middle of the page. Ha'im ein ezrasi bi ishti d'chsiv eze kenegdoi miyad toishia nitcha mimeni. Look what Rashi says. Shetzorch lasik b'tzorchi beisai. Person has to deal with the mundane things of the household. A person needs a wife to take care of the basic stuff, otherwise he won't be able to learn Torah. Says the Gemara, here, that's where they get it from. The woman will circle the man. Rava Barula Amar, Beloi Shalom d'chsiv yudati ki shalom alecha ufokato novcha v'loi sechta. Weiter, let's go 2 minutes weiter because we have very long dapim coming up. If a person knows that his wife has Yerushalayim be'ene poikta and he's not mekayim the mitzvah of oina, nikra chayta. So one pshat I saw here is because if she has Yerushalayim, maybe she won't suggest and she won't be open about it. So the man has to take things in his own hand. Nikra chayta. Shenemar v'yidatik yishal me'alecha. Before he goes on the way, Taisus over here says, Rashi says means mamish tashmish. Taisus says he has to talk nicely or other things, but not mamish. We'll see in a second. We learn a different place. She desires her husband when he goes on the way. The chiddush is that this Isser, we learned in Masechtas Nida, right before when you anticipate Nidus, so you can't be with your wife for that time. So Memela, but Rashi says, Big Chiddush, that if they argue with him, Rishayim, if he's going on the way, then you should be Mekayim the mitzvah then. Mekama, Amarava, Oina, one period, in other words, a 12-hour period. Either if she saw at night, it's the night, during the day. If he's going to do a mitzvah, then not, because he'll be too tired, he might forget about the mitzvah or whatever. Have a wonderful day.